Brenda was born with hip dysplasia. A few days after she was born, her mother noticed that one of her legs was shorter than the other.
Yo la bañé en la casa y fue donde noté yo que la niña estaba mal de su cadera. Le noté una bolita en la parte de acá y un piecito más largo que el otro.
This young lady has a right hip dislocation secondary to developmental dysplasia. So as she's grown, the hip has become dislocated and remained dislocated.
El Paso Children's Hospital is the only place in El Paso with 4 fully equipped operating rooms with state-of-the-art technology for pediatric orthopedic surgery.
What we're going to try to do is go and put the hip back in the socket and hold it there so as she grows, the hip continues to, or starts to form normally and continues to grow as it should. So we'll make an incision over the front of the hip, dissect down, identify the dislocated hip, identify the socket, put the ball back into the socket itself, and then we tighten up the capsule around there to hold that in place. And then commonly we have to augment those the procedure initially with additional osteotomy. So we go and cut the bone. So we'll have to reshape the bone of the actual socket since it's flat and dysplastic, since the ball hasn't been in there for the last 2.5 years. And then also we end up having to cut the bone of the femur to redirect the actual hip, the ball, into the socket. Again, all these secondary and tertiary procedures just to maintain the hip in its anatomical alignment, and as she grows, maintain the reduction that we're trying to do today in the OR. This procedure is one that involves a multidisciplinary approach. So in addition to myself being the pediatric orthopedic doctor, pediatric anesthesiologist, after we're done here in the OR, she's being monitored by our pediatric hospitalist to make sure her pain is controlled. She's tolerating oral intake, and so that takes a multitude of people to be able to do that. And then later on, after we're done with the casting, pediatric therapists as well. So none of that would be possible without a facility like this that has all of those providers under one roof to be able to kind of follow through from the beginning, the surgical treatment until afterwards. So 6 months, 6 years down the line, as she still grows, to make sure that she's getting the necessary care to, go on to lead a productive childhood and adult life.
Thanks to the highly skilled group of pediatric orthopedic surgeons and staff in the operating rooms at El Paso Children's Hospital, Brenda will now grow to have a normal life. With your support, we will continue to make miracles like this come true.